Alright, what is poppin', people? We're back. Now look, SCL Week 4 concluded. Roster shakeups? Yep, they happened. There were definitely some shakeups that happened after this week, and I think... I won't say anything on that. I think some of them were probably a little bit necessary. Just... I don't want to shit on people. But I do think that some people may have been struggling a little bit. And when you're able to shuffle people around in your slots, because I don't think this was a situation where people were strictly getting benched. I'd have to check the thread, but that wasn't the interpretation that I got. But I do think that it's always good when you have that roster flexibility, if you can move people around in tiers. And hey, one person's struggling at India, maybe they'll do better at another tier. So, let's hope to see that, because I want to make sure that we can get as high quality gameplay as we can. You know, SCL... along with... I was gonna say along with SPL, but SPL's only OU now, isn't it? Damn, that was a terrible decision. What? Okay. But SCL is one of the biggest stages for lower tier gameplay. And so, hey. I want to be able to see the best games possible. And we're gonna be starting off with Red Sean Confide. This is, I think this is the only game that I haven't looked at all. We got Red Sean Confide, which I didn't see. I looked over this replay. I watched this game as it happened. Some of it, at least. And then I watched over this replay. Okay, yeah, so I'm at least familiar with most of these games. So we'll start with the one that I didn't watch any of. Now, as always, if you're new to the channel, or if you're not new to the channel, and you still haven't subscribed, just do it, man. You're helping me out, and I'm gonna keep putting out what I view as at least pretty decent content. So if you don't want to miss it out, or if you don't want to miss it, then make sure you click that button. Also, follow the Twitter. I got in the description of the videos. And while I sometimes forget to like tweet uploads, because you know I've got my personal Twitter and then I've got this one, and I don't really bother shifting between them too frequently, but I do try my best to tweet my uploads when I have them. And if you end up missing one in your sub box, well then, you can see it there. But looking at team preview, Red Sean's got some pretty just standard looking balance. It's got an Inteleon, which I do think is a pretty reasonable enough Pokemon in the meta. For a good bit of time, I had been higher on Inteleon than most people. Then I started saying, okay, this mon's horrible, back when Vaporeon was on like every other team. And even Mantine was like still at least a reasonable pick. And now I think that it's a little bit better again. Now, Vaporeon has... It's not that Vaporeon's fallen off the face of the earth, but it's a lot less common than it once was. And Mantine still isn't, like, super prevalent. And while this is... You know, this week was the old meta before Doublade dropped, there will be at least some shifting up of teams. I felt in that meta, Inteleon was honestly not that bad of a pick towards the end of it. Vaporeon was less common, Mantine was, you know, not everywhere. And so a lot of the time, you'd be looking at teams whose water resist was going to be, like, some combination of, like, frail grass type. So, like, Celebi, Rotom, Mo, generally. Sometimes a Decidueye. Plus, maybe, like, Gudra or Guzzlord. And those cores are much easier to overwhelm over time with Inteleon. Not only are they worse at switching into Hydro Pump, but Ice Beam nukes them. And so compare that to teams that have an actual just bulky water. While Inteleon could U-turn versus those switch-ins, it's not able to really make any meaningful progress otherwise. And so it was a lot more limited. So I think as the meta developed, it did get freed up at least a little bit, and well, last VR update we did end up ranking it in C. And I would, you know, presume this is like Silvally ground. It fits the team really well. He doesn't necessarily need a knock absorber, because he's got Vileplume, and a lot of the time these go itemless. But it does give him a Volt Blocker. It gives him some extra speed, which, I mean, he doesn't really need either, but speed is always really good on a team when he can fit it. It gives him more like a designated win con as well, which I think works really well, and it really appreciates Inteleon putting pressure on things like grass types and water types. I would say the bigger thing is, or not the bigger thing, but one of the biggest things that also gives you, though, is a pretty decent answer to Drapion, which kind of eats this team otherwise. pending coverage and item, it can just sort of ignore Talonflame if it's like Lumberry Aquatail. And then, I mean, Vileplume, the most it can hope for is to Sleep Powder it. Because, yeah, you're not Strike Sap spamming long enough to be too much meaningful progress against it. And look at Confide's build, he's got something that, to me, looks like Hyper Offense. You know, like Lead Duraludon, Screen Xatu, and like SD, whatever Silvally. NP Lazzle, potentially Focus Sash. SD Decidueye, and maybe even just an SD Surfetched. So let's see how this goes. So we see the lead Surfetched versus the Inteleon. Now, this is going to click Hydro Pump. Yep. I mean, there's not really a whole lot that Confide has to switch into that. So now Decidueye comes out. It's got a Shackle. That does look probably Spell Tag. I think CB would have done over half. And yeah, Red could just always Brave Bird there. He doesn't really need to make any sort of aggressive play. And we do see that this is a Ground Valley. Now this is going to Draco. And it's probably going to be a Jetpack. Yeah. So I don't know why we SD'd there. I'm guessing he thought one of these two would hard come out. But I do feel... yeah, I don't think you need to worry about... no. Actually, I do agree with the SD. I think there's enough justification that Confide would want to preserve Duraludon health, just to make sure that the Talonflame doesn't become too much of a nuisance, because at this point, it's, you know, it's sort of keeping Salazzle in check, and it can pretty easily revenge kill the Decidueye, and if this is like Silvally Ground, well, your Talonflame doesn't really check it, but it at least threatens a Will-O-Wisp burn, so I think that's fine. He's gonna get Salazzle out here, he's just gonna sack the Silvally. Because, I mean, he doesn't really have a great switch in, but because he reveals Overheat, there's a really good chance that he doesn't have Dragon Pulse, so that's something to keep in mind for the Goodra as the game goes on. And we are going to see a U-turn there. I think that's pretty reasonable. Hydro Pump gives Decidueye a free switch in, and I don't think you really want that. He's going to go Bronzong, going to double into the Goodra, and then he actually eats a Draco, wow. And then Fire Blast is easily going to dispatch this. Mon has no special bulk. Now it is a little bit annoying for his team to have this weekend, so now he's going to be a lot more reliant on Inteleon to keep this in check, because this is going to be pretty much forced to roost as it comes in, and it doesn't Oko Salazzle, so we're going to see the Revenge Kill with Sludge Bomb there. Bronzong comes out. Looking at Ren's team, it honestly could be, I think, either Levitate or Heatproof. I don't look at this build and think either is necessarily, like, de facto better. I mean, Heatproof does help a lot against Salazzle. Otherwise, you're reliant on, like, some combination of Inteleon / Talonflame revenge killing, or Goodra tanking, like, one hit and praying that it's not Dragon Pulse. This also does help against AV Copper if it's Heatproof. As AV Copper Raj, obviously, it's one stone edge away from obliterating T-Flame. So he's going to stay to Heatproof. He's staying Heatproof. He's going to stay to Overheat. We do see that he was Heatproof. He's also Focus Sash here, which makes sense. He's got the Xatu. And he's going to go out to the Xatu now because there's not, you know, too much incentive not to. But unfortunately, it does give Inteleon a free double, which he can kind of always make anyway there. And yeah, I mean, Spectacles Inteleon is a very good mod. He's gonna sneak, it's not gonna do enough. Yep. Okay, this was just an Inteleon gap. I mean, yeah, we didn't even get to see if this was, like, dual screens. I imagine it was. Like, this looks like, you know, again, lead Dura screens this and it just 4 setup sweepers. But we didn't get that confirmation, which makes me a little sad. But yeah, this is, I think, a great example of why Inteleon is at least viable in this meta, and probably going forward too. I don't envision that Doublade's addition to the tier just all of a sudden makes Inteleon go from fringe viable to literally unviable. Now, Snorlax ends up being unbanned through, like, suspect test? Maybe. Maybe. It is definitely capable of just invalidating a lot of special attackers, but we'll see. That was a pretty interesting game. Now we got this game, and honestly, there's, like, so little that I want to talk about, man. Like, what's this? Oh, but wait till you see some of the stuff on Kushalis' team. They're not some of the stuff, but one of the things. So we see Scrafty versus Xatu. I think Scrafty is always pretty good as a lead into stall, because generally these teams aren't going to have a way to just, like, delete it. And so, if you can at least start knocking items early, that is helpful. Especially if you're getting, you know, just getting rid of lefties, maybe getting rid of boots from anything as well. I feel like winning the item war is just a big way to gain a lot of momentum. And now, we're gonna see this Vileplume. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, this is the luckiest Vileplume I've ever seen. This thing gets Sludge Bomb poisons by, like, looking at the opposing Pokemon. But we're gonna see the Sludge Bomb poison, and we're going to see that it actually just lets Kushalos win. I mean, getting rid of this thing immediately is great. No Audino means that this team has no sustain anymore, pretty much. And, like, yeah. I think this was actually a really smart pick, because I do associate Roger Blutar with bringing, like, stall. I don't remember if this is the first time he has an SCL, but he is at least moderately known for it. And so Infestation Plume is a really cool counter tech to take advantage of that. So now the Avalug's going to come out. He's going to double it at the Xatu as the Mantine comes in. And the Togedic comes out on the Scald. I think Togedic's actually kind of a cool pick as well here. I mean, it's not that it's good, right? It's just kind of cool. And I mean, it does keep some things in check that Stall may struggle with otherwise, if you're thinking about, like, Scrafty. Now, one may ask why this just isn't a Sylveon, and the question is, or the answer is probably just he wants, I'm guessing this is Defog? Now, I don't know if this is going to be Spin Avalug. It could be some weird Iron Defense Body Press sweep set. But if you're going Shedinja, and maybe he's not Boots, for instance, because, I mean, he doesn't have a rocker anywhere, so... Well, if he doesn't have a rocker anywhere, I feel like that might lean more into this running Boots, right? Because you're just trying to make sure that you win the hazard game at that point. And yeah, I mean, if this is a different item, like, say, maybe he's, like, safety goggles or something, because he was scared of getting queued into sand, and then having a literally useless Mon, then maybe. I don't know. I was trying to figure out why you'd run Togedic, I'll be honest. It's, again, cool mod, I'm just like, what's the point? Now we're going to see just some trading of power points here. The Diancie is not going to ever make meaningful progress against this Togedic. And now the Plumer is going to come out here. Now, unfortunately for our protagonist Kushalos here, he does have a Shedinja and even a Xatu that can give this a little bit of issue. And he even reveals that he is the full stalling set. The full stall. He's going to Sludge Bomb again. We're going to see another poison. As I said, this is the luckiest Vileplume of all time. And, oh my lordy, infests. Now this is huge too, because we actually see that the Xatu stays in. And what this says to me, by the way, again, another Sludge Bomb poison. But what this says to me is that this is like Toxic Protect Xatu. Because otherwise, it's like, why wouldn't you try to preserve this Mon? I guess, like, regardless, it doesn't do a whole lot. Or he doesn't have... What do I mean it doesn't do a whole lot? He doesn't have, like, a whole lot on his team that wants to try to bother messing with the Vileplume, but I mean, Shedinja. Is he worried about Shedinja maybe giving, Kushalos too much leeway around his team? Because Golurk does kind of just come in. And it actually ends up being a toxic Golurk. What the hell? I didn't watch this far into the replay, so I didn't see that. We're gonna see some switches here. Just get a Seismic. You can Roost. Yeah, unfortunately there's not a whole lot interesting to say about stall games when, like, we're at this point. Although the Vileplume just straight up trapping and removing both of these is pretty cool to see. Let's put this on fast. I'm gonna see this Roost again. I guess we're just gonna see some PowerPoint stalling for a little bit here. He's gonna go Quag and get Wisped. I mean, we switch into Scrafty here, yeah. I don't think Scrafty ever gets to a point where it wins the game, mostly because Quagsire is just gonna sit and exist. Because unaware, you're not gonna ever be able to set up enough to get by. Oh, he's Rest as well? Oh. Oh, I see. Well, that's not any fun. This does give him a free plume though, and because the Xatu's gone, he doesn't have to worry about this app getting bounced back. And Vileplume in general at this point in the game is pretty annoying. Now I don't know why he isn't going Shedinja versus this. Actually, wait, no. You can Leech Seed Shedinja, that's why. Okay, I'm just not very intelligent. I forgot about that. Yeah, Vileplume kind of 6-0s at this point, especially if this is like, Avalanche. It makes it even more of an issue. We are going to see the attempted trapping of this Quagsire, and it looks like it's actually just going to work. Yeah. Okay. Infestation Vileplume does just kind of 6-0 here, doesn't it? He goes Avalugg again, and he does have Avalanche. He gets burned. And now the Talonflame, yeah. Yeah, I would say Talonflame with bulk up does win at this point. Does the token have something last to stop this? No, it does not. So we're going to see Talonflame bulk up, I think, to +6/+6, and then Brave Bird 3 times and win. Probably not 3, because I doubt you can KO Avalugg from even 82 when you're at +6, but we'll see. He bulks again. He bulks again. Alright, come on. I'm on game. Yo, what is up with Kushalis' luck, though, with secondary effects this game? All of these Flame Body Birds and Sludge Bomb poisons have been kind of funny. Alright, so let's see. How much damage are we doing? Can't even Oko the Togetic, bro. Come on. Come on, man. And he's gonna Roost again. I'm surprised he isn't, just going for Brave Bird again. But I'm guessing he wants to keep this at a decent amount of health, just in case this Avalugg somehow were to, be an issue. Well, it's not an issue if he switches it into the next Brave Bird. I'll let you know that right now. I don't think he should have ever done that. I mean, he lost at that point, but it looked like he was still gonna try to, like, shut the fuck up. But, I don't know. Look, he lost at this point. I'm just trying to think, like, do you still... No, it doesn't matter if you preserve anything at that point. This thing is bulked up 6 times. You're winning. Okay, on to the next. So... this is an interesting preview to look at, mostly because I do indeed have Hoenn Confirm's team in my builder, except it is a Celebi instead of a Starmie. But then we can see Snowjinru's team. I actually do really like it, and again, the God Passimian. I really do like Passimian in this meta. I think just as a Scarfer, what it offers over, you know, a lot of the other Revenge Killers is a Pokemon that is not weak and does revenge kill things. It's not exactly the most insightful thing ever, I know, but there's not really much more to say. I mentioned it on the VR upload, which if you have not watched yet, go ahead and watch it. And even if you have watched it, go watch it again. Give me more watch time. But Passimian in this game also just goes in pretty effectively. What I like about Passimian is sort of like some of its interaction with T-Flame, where you just draw it in so consistently, and unlike Sirfetch'd, you can Oko it with Rock Slide, and that is helpful. Now Sirfetch'd can also, you know, knock it, like Passimian can, and knocking Talonflame is a good way to essentially Oko it later in the game. Nemon without its boots is a lot more limited. And I also think that knocking T-Flame is just a cool way to support other teammates, maybe that need T-Flame out of the way. But being able to just get rid of it immediately is huge, and this is a 1000% a tangent, but it's also why I don't support the unbanning of Pangoro. The biggest argument that I've seen people levy for unbanning Goro is that, well, we have, you know, Sirfetch'd in the tier, surely Pangoro can't be too much more of an issue. And oh no, it can. Goro's a lot stronger, all because of that dark typing, man. Stab Knockoff from Adamant CB Goro actually has a decent-ish chance to Oko Talon straight up. And yeah, I don't think we need that in our tier. You know, we have people already complaining about Sirfetch'd being hard to wall. Or they have in the past. I haven't really heard too much noise about Fetch'd in recent time, unless your name's Eternally. But Pangoro takes that to another level. And even if you run itemless to try to reduce the effectiveness of its knockoff, like itemless Vileplume was something people would run back when it was allowed, Pangoro can run like 2 dark stab moves. One of the more common sets was like CC, Darkest Lariat knockoff, and then whatever fairy type coverage move you wanted between Gunk Shot and Iron Head. Generally Iron Head just because, you know, Tiancy and more accurate than Gunk, but I think we don't need to go on that for too much longer. But the point is, Goro is a lot stronger. So let's not unban it. Back to the game at hand, though. Sojourner seems really interesting. You know, he is breaking the cardinal sin of you are allowed a maximum of 1 Shipmon per team. He has like 3. He's got an Arcanine, a Comfey, and then this. We are going to see why Stunfisk Galar is one of my favorite Pokemon to watch used in tournaments. I know it's not exactly the most insightful of comments, but you'll see why. You'll see why. It's one of my favorite Pokemon to see used in general. Anyhow, the pass always gets to U-turn versus the Escavalier. Also, if we want to just talk about win cons again, Passimian puts in so much work versus this team. Yeah, he's got 2 soft checks. He's got 2 checks to pass, but once this gets rock slided, and he can rock slide like immediately, pretty easily. Once this gets caught by rock slide, he has won with CC. Yeah, the Gallifrey Scout versus the Diancie. And Hoenn is both of these are very unhonorable players, actually. Neither of them goes for the exchange of Stealth Rock. And then Hoenn, again, very dishonorable, goes for a switch into the Starmie, hoping to Oko the Stunfisk Galar. But it just very casually chooses up from fall. Look, man. I don't derive too much happiness from this game anymore. But damn it if I'm not happy to see Mon just randomly wall a Starmie. And yeah, he gets the T-Wave off as well. Now this Mon is very threatened by Passimian. Like that, there are 2 conditions pretty much to let Passimian go berserk, and one of them is getting rid of, or at least crippling the Starmie. And yeah, that's been done. The other is getting rid of this Talonflame. So let's see when that happens. And yeah, he's going to double into the Explode here, knowing that T-Flame has to come out. And we are going to see that this is not a Specs Explode. You're seeing the Boom Burst damage here. If this was Specs, this was taking like 80. And also, I'd say this is like the real seller here. You know, a Scav is not taking only 27. And so Hoenn is going to double again back to the Talonflame, knowing this is Silk Scarf damage. But unfortunately for Hoenn, he's actually going to sack the T-Flame here. Like, I don't think that's... I mean, it's really hard to play around this Explode. I will admit that much. But I almost feel like you prefer to just sack Starmie there, maybe? Because Starmie being paralyzed makes it kind of worthless, in my eyes. The most it kind of does is, if you find a shot to recover, maybe against Arcanine, then when you're at full, you could take, you know, like 2 CCs from pass. And that's really all you need to do. But you know Brave Bird isn't Revenge Kill Explode, even with a crit, man. Like, this would not have 2-hit KO'd even, without the crit. And I feel like you really need Talonflame, because of... It helps also keep the Celebi in check, it helps keep the Comfey in check, helps check Passimian. It at least bothers the Arcanine, I guess. If you're, since he's Brave Bird, I imagine he's Wisp, so you don't really do much versus Arc. But I feel like T-Flame really does a lot for him in this game, and to see him sack it for just damage against Explode feels a little weird. Because it's like, you don't really need damage for, Silvally Ground to well, you do need damage for Silvally Ground to threaten the KO. I guess that's what he's going for? Because Snowgenry's team is sort of weak to Silvally Ground. So he goes into it here, which I feel like you do kind of have to do. And we're going to see Multi do over half. Or not over half. Almost half. Why is it I thought that did over half? Is it because of SD, Silvally Ground just KOing this Comfey? Does he Oko it here? Wait. Because I've watched this replay, so I'm trying to remember. Okay, no, he killed it from 92. That's why I thought it was going to do over half. And these were just 2, like, low rolls. Okay. You know, Passimian comes out now. And because Hoenn has lost his T-Flame, this Passimian gets to click CC as much as it wants this game. Like, DNC and Escavalier, you know, they can take 1 from the ranges they're at, and same thing with Starmie. And he actually does get the heal ball off, so I guess it makes sense then to preserve Starmie. But that is huge for it. Being, like, it's no longer just straight up useless. And yeah, DNC does yum this up. But, again, Passimian just looks really good at this point. There is no fight resist really on his team that wants to check it. So he's going to go Starmie here. And while he can't KO it, yeah, he does not need much chip to 2-hit KO. Basically, this mod never gets to, like, switch into CC directly, because it's going to be 2-hit KO'd. He's always going to have to try to get it in through, sacks. And when you're down to just 2 Pokemon to sack, it's a little bit difficult. So he's going to go Silvally Ground on the knockoff. And then here you're just forced into the Escavalier. And unfortunately, you know, this mod isn't really going to be able to do much in retaliation. We're going to see the Starmie come out versus the Arcanine, and for some reason, we do see extreme speed revealed. Hell if I know why. Hell if I know why. But now the Paskets come back out again, and at this point, there's really nothing for Hoenn to do. I mean, he just gets to knock 3 times. This Protect felt very ill-mannered to me. You were wasting my time by using it. But, yeah. Lord Passimian getting a nice little cleanup. Have we seen Pass in any other games yet? There was not a Passimian here, and there damn sure was not one in this game. Hey, man. Also, no one said GG. Come on, guys. Be good sports. And yeah, here's a Hyper Offense mirror matchup. And look, all I'm gonna say is, I predicted the end turns. I predicted them properly. And I was very disappointed with the loser of this game, because they did not predict to the same level that I did. Anyhow, we see 2 Spike Stack HO builds. One has, at least I'm assuming, the Xatu's dual screen, so we're going to say one has a dual screen setter, the other just has an extra sweeper. There's really not a lot to say from preview here. One of these teams will win because it applied more offensive pressure than the other team at a faster rate. So, let's press play. You know? And yeah, we're gonna see a taunt bounce back immediately. That is one of the most dishonorable plays ever. Come on, man. You go for the honorable spikes trading. You gotta play with honor, man. Would Ash Ketchum have made that play into Xatu? Absolutely not. We're gonna see the Decidueye just KO the Frostlass there, though. So we see 1 layer of spikes. The Sid, I'm guessing, went for sneak there. And honestly, just that crit. I wonder if that matters. Decidueye's got, like, good special bulk. But I feel like, God, it's a Salazzle, man. Like, this mod is strong. Regardless. Tom's gonna come out here. Acrobatics easily KOs the Lazzle. And unfortunately, it gives this a switch in. That Steel Wing, that does not count as damage, my guy. That does not count as damage. But we're gonna see fuck. We're gonna see Team Charm get a little bit greedy here and go for like 50 DDs in a row. And he is gonna even end up, that like head smash miss is kind of rough. This mod does not live. Yeah. I'm guessing he was trying to disable head smash there. Hit. Yeah, this turn was very funny. The Salicberry endures Salazzle, oh my lord. So Valley Fairy comes out here, but yeah, oof, that's tough. And this is where this game gets real dicey, because no matter what he revenge kills the Salazzle with, right? He's letting in Blastoise here, and you're giving it a smash. Now, your own Blastoise does live a hit, but now you're getting into the worry of, am I getting Dark Pulse flinched or not? He actually just goes for Surf because he was in Torrent. But this is where the game is very unfortunate. So, now because I am symboled using alternative methods, right? I knew that this man was gonna rock polish with this Diancie. Stoise, again, I've been over this before. Blastoise fucking sucks because without boosts, it is very weak. You gotta boost with this mod or else it doesn't do anything. Now, generally you could boost with it, but hey, he didn't get to boost with it. If he was in Torrent, he's gonna Okoda's Diancie, but because he's not, I knew he had no ability to Oko. And basically, Axu's only win con here is he has to Rock Polish. If he surfs and you go for any move that isn't Rock Polish, you lose because Silvally Fairy is going to revenge kill you. So he basically just has to go off the choke from Team Charm here for him not smashing. You like if you're Team Charm, you have to Shell Smash, I think, here. His only win condition is Rock Polishing up because then he gets to just outspeed your 2 mons. Like, I genuinely think that this was a choke here by Team Charm for surfing. Maybe it was a damage roll. I didn't calc it. Because it is going to be a more offensive Diancie, right? But I feel like you genuinely do have to just Shell Smash there, because your only way of losing is if he Rock Polishes. Okay, so I say that. It's a 50-50, admittedly. Yeah, no. Okay. I will back off on that one. That is a 50-50. But damn it, I knew he was gonna Rock Polish. Why didn't you Shell Smash? No, but that's such a dire end turn. I actually want to calc this real quick. Blastoise. And we're gonna assume that the Diancie is just like full offensive, so I'm not gonna put EVs in. Or which replays? This one's the 4th one. 80. Okay. He was at 88. Wow, he just... This does even less damage than I thought. Huh. Anyhow. Yeah. Again, the only reason I thought Shell Smash there was the better play is because if he doesn't Rock Polish and you do attack, you like always lose. I feel like you like if you're Axu, you just Rock Polish always there. Because regardless, it's hard to explain, and I think maybe I'm harping a little bit too much on this turn. But for Axu's position, I feel like if you don't Rock Polish, or not if you don't Rock Polish, no shit, if you don't Rock Polish, you lose if he attacks. Let me see if I can rationalize this to myself. At this point, I'm doing this to see whether or not I'm just being too, like, hard on Team Charm. So if he attacks and you smash, you obviously lose. Because Silvally Fairy isn't going to be able to KOs. If you surf and he attacks, you win. If you smash and he Rock Polishes, you win. I mean, yeah, if it is a prediction there regardless, because depending on if he attacks, you lose. But there are 3 total ways that I have decided this game could have gone. You attack, like you both attack, you both set up, or you set up and he doesn't. You either got he sets up and you don't, you set up and he doesn't, you both set up, or you both attack. The only line in which you lose is when he sets up and you don't. Actually, no. There are 2 lines there, right? Yeah, there are. Huh. Well, no, that was just a 50-50. He sets up and you don't, you lose. You set up and he doesn't, you lose. So it really just is a game of chicken there. Damn. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Look at us doing some basic math to determine what the right play was. Basically what I'm saying is I won the 50-50, but Team Charm didn't, so that's tough. Anyhow, let's move on. We got the last game here, and I also have PDT's team in my builder. So, I just as a little side note, I felt like this kind of structure was generally like my favorite to use towards the end of the metagame. It is definitely very weak to Silvally Ground, but I don't think it's an unplayable matchup, you know? You give and you take with some matchups. Unfortunately for PDT, this is definitely a Silvally Ground. I feel like you could look at most teams and know there'll be a Silvally Ground. Like, this is kind of the exception here, where it's a Silvally Fairy. Don't I have this team in my builder, like, exactly as it is, or close to? Huh. I guess, do I? No, I have an Absol over the Tyrantrum. Yeah, but it is a Silvally Fairy. Hey man, all I'm saying, great minds think alike. Silvally Fairy is actually kind of cool. I actually didn't mind that mod in the last meta. But HO, I thought it was like situationally not the worst. Anyhow, the Silvally Ground, it's not that it eats this team, but it's not a very great matchup. And so if it ever, like, if this mod sets up, you're not in a great spot. And there are a decent amount of chances for it to set up. Because on Toxicroak, I don't think Drain into Sucker should ever be KOing. That just doesn't sound right to me, unless it's like boosted Croak, of course. And so he's kinda gotta make sure that T-Flame could like be around a Wisp. Or that Celebi is like, because most Celebi aren't grass moves, so I don't imagine he has that to keep this in check. So it's kind of rough. Also, even Tauros kind of is a problem. I feel like Tauros, though, is a problem for most teams on paper, so, you know. Let's play this one out. Let's see what happens. So we see Diancie versus Talonflame. We're always going to see a U-turn there if you, like, are running it. We actually see the immediate Diamond Storm. PDT said, no, I don't want that Xatu coming in for free. And we're going to see switch on each side there. Croak comes in, Xatu ports, and yeah, so here's the Silvally Ground already. He's gonna U-turn, and because he's got Diancie plus Vaporeon, I do imagine that at least one of these has Heal Bell. So the Silvally Ground could afford to like consistently U-turn and not worry about the Talonflame burn. It shouldn't be too big of an issue. Seeing Moonblast on the Diancie makes me feel like it would be Heal Bell this, but because it's TDK, and I've seen this man run Flip Turn Protox Wish, I'm not gonna, like, assume too much about this thing set from here. And we do end up seeing this is a flip turn Vaporeon, so, you know. You know. Anyhow, because he's got Vaporeon plus Silvally Ground, he's actually pretty able to consistently prevent Toxicroak from taking too much advantage of the Vaporeon. I think really the only way he'd be able to is if, like, Croak comes out versus Vaporeon on the Wish, and then you SD and win a 50-50 versus this. Because then maybe you can start making some progress with your Croak. But it's pretty unfavorable, I feel, for PDT2, just because of how threatening the Silvally Ground is to his team. Like, these are both semi-shaky answers to it. And so you do have to be really safe. This Celebi is Scarfed, I'm guessing, right? I always just assume Scarf Celebi if we don't see Life Orb Recoil. I do think on this team it's fine enough. It gives you extra speed, and hell, I mean, for this team it's kind of valuable just to be able to help keep this in check. Also, we do finally see the Rock Slide come out, so DDK said he had enough. Now PGT also goes to his own Ground Valley here. We're going to see the honorable trading of multi-attacks, and we're just going to see TDK win 2 speed ties in a row. That's really tough. That honestly is real tough for that's real tough for PDT, man. The Celebi's going to come out versus Vaporeon. I mean, unfortunately, even with special attack or special defense drop, my bad, you're not going to be able to KO it. And he actually does reveal not to be Scarfed. So I don't know what your item is, because he's not Boots, he's not Lefties, and he's not Life Orb. So I'm unsure, like, what that means you're running. Like, the damage versus T-Flame didn't make me think that this was, like, Twisted Spoon. I guess this could be a Resist Berry of some kind? Like, maybe you're, what's the berry? I guess you could... Okay, so Colbur isn't the one I was thinking of, but maybe... What if you're the Flying Resist Berry? You know? He recovers versus this, so I don't think he's the Flying Resist Berry. I think if you were, no, Kebia's Ghost. I hate that I can't remember the name of it. But I think if you were that item, you would have stayed in versus T-Flame. And where you did stay in. But I think you would have just attacked instead of recovering. It could have been that he recovered predicting you, though. No, he recovered predicting you. There ain't no damn question about that. You're gonna see just more, again, attack trading here. This is a very dire spot for PDT. Also, this was SDU turn T-Flame. I just want to let that be known to the world. And at this point, it kind of just wins. You know? I mean, the Ground Valley also just wins, but this mod being really low is super good for T-Flame. And you can always just sack this at this point, because if he recovers, then you're just U-turning out. And SD here is very, very free. Okay, it was not the fly resist berry, at least we know that much. But with +2, he does Oko this. I do think the Sucker was good here, but I expected to do more. I'm kind of surprised that T-Flame lived. But I think Sucker, like, you kind of have to go there for it. And at this point, Tauros will be able to win this game, because if he's Protect, I doubt that he's got CC. Yes, he's probably Ironhead knockoff it in, like, Protox. So this just is going to click Throat Chop until he's won. And then, you know, CC the DNC. Overall, honestly, I'm pretty content with most of the teams we saw. And I'm honestly even content with the play. Would I say this is the best played week and best, like, just built week for NU so far? I feel like, yeah. Like, if we go through teams, I'm generally a fan of each of these teams. I think TDK needs to stop running dog shit flip turn Vaporeon, but you know what? Some people just find a set that they really like, and if it's working for them, then, hey, I ain't gonna flack them that much. Again, PDT seems definitely weak to, like, U-turn Ground Valley, but he also did get sorta unlucky. Okay, so I actually didn't see that, or I didn't really pay attention to this Diancie being Power Gem. Seeing Power Gem Diancie makes me think that he might have not even been Heal Bell on either of these. This may just, again, be Wish Toxic Protect Flip Turn. In which case, yeah, he got really unlucky by not getting a single burn on the Silvally ground as it U-turned. If he did, then, I mean, it's still a rough game, but he doesn't lose the Silvally ground to that trade, and like his own Ground Valley would be in a much better spot. That is just kind of unlucky. I like both the HOs. I thought the Endure Salkberry pick from Sensei Axio on the Salazzle was really cool. And hell, again, I think that Silvally Fairy on this team works. You know what? I think it works. And Asphalt Salazzle's a good way to chip out Heat-Proof Bronzong if you queue into it. T-Trum is also a good way to weaken Bronzong. And then you're not really worried as much about the other steals, I feel, with this team. Well, I mean, Silvally Fairy's got Flame Charge for Scavalier, and you don't need, like, that much chip. And then if you're talking Caparaja, I think Blastoise probably is going to be looking at your main way of weakening that. I like Silvally Fairy with these offensive ones. I think it works well. And then Spike Support also to just chip away at things like Copper, like a Scav. Again, I think Hoenn team is fine. Just because I have it in my builder, though, with a Celebi over Starmie, I am going to say that that is the objectively superior choice, because I have never built a bad team in my life, so if I built this team with that as my mon here, then surely it must be correct. Wink, wink. Hated this team. You broke the cardinal law. Come on, man. Be better. This stall was... this stall was definitely a team. That's the most I can say about that. Again, I really liked the Infestation Vileplume pick from Kushalis. I thought that was really cool to see. And then, hell, I like Rinchan's pick of Inteleon. I think it is a cool, somewhat anti-meta, I guess you'd say, pick. Just taking advantage of lower Vaporeon usage, and Mantine's still not really completely filling that void. And I feel like Confide was just thrown into NU this week, right? I think he'd been playing RU prior, so it's not like there was necessarily a whole lot of info on him. Or, like, I already can't remember I know Confide didn't start either of the first 2 weeks. I just don't remember if week 3 he was playing. But anyhow, that's gonna be it for this upload. Gotta thank y'all for watching, if you made it this far into the video, because this is 45 minutes of your time that you spent listening to me talk about Pokemon. And that's pretty admirable. Week 5 of SCL. Since we quick banned Regidrago and Snorlax, obviously those mons will be gone. I won't have to worry about them. But we'll see Doublade. Or Doublade will be in the tier. Whether or not we see it is a different question. But I am interested to see. If people are using Doublade, what are they using on it? My guess would be Swords Dance. But you know, like, what do the teams end up looking like now that we've got another mon to account for? Doublade could potentially end up shutting out the viability of certain physical attackers. Like, I think SD Croak gets a fair bit worse with Doublade around. So we'll see what happens. Thank y'all for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.